Hey guys, it's Tim, and this is Pro Wrestling Unlimited, as we are here on Wednesday with the PW Unlimited Wednesday show, episode number 61. Now, if you guys didn't see the tweet Nick did send out, his grandfather did finally come back from the hospital today, and he's spending some time with his grandfather. The family's doing some family things all together, so, family comes first as always, so Nick will not be joining us again here tonight, but it's all good. It's all good. See who's with us here in the chat, who is actually joining us. We got Dash, Fun for Life, Michael Stanberry, Georgery. Is that how you say it? Georgery? Gregory. My bad. I don't know why I read it wrong. Oh, I see what happened. I saw George Don Cock, and then I saw Gregory, and I merged them together. No, Bird Gotti's with us as well. We've also got Derek Bocek, Noah Hall. We've got Luke Might, Ash K. Okay then. So, it's Wednesday, and that's when we talk about everything that culminated throughout the last week of professional wrestling. We get all the different news stories, and we bring them together for you guys here in this video, and then we open up the phone lines, and we allow you guys to call in and give us your thoughts as well. Hopefully, Skype is not acting as bipolar as it was earlier, and it will actually work this time. So we'll give it a shot here in a little bit. I did have some stuff that I did want to talk about. And the first thing I want to talk about was the ratings of SmackDown. So let me pull those up really fast. So SmackDown, the ratings didn't seem bad, but they were bad overall. So SmackDown basically did almost the same rating they did last week. The last 3 weeks, the last 3 weeks have all been steady. They've kind of been right around the same number. This week, according to Show Buzz Daily, they are reporting that the January 29th episode of SmackDown Live drew 2,137,000 views. This is slightly down, but not that bad down from last week's 2,142,000 views. Now, the reason this is good and bad is because they stayed steady. They didn't drop tremendously. But the reason this is bad is because they got no post-Royal Rumble kickback. Let me pull up the Raw ratings. If we saw the Raw ratings did increase. Let me pull those up really fast. They did get a boost from the actual... don't know why this is not coming up. They did get a boost from the actual Royal Rumble, people being interested in what happened from the Royal Rumble. And here's my theory on why SmackDown may not have gotten that same boost. So one of the big things coming out of the Royal Rumble was that Becky Lynch won the Royal Rumble. That Becky Lynch was going to go on and challenge either Ronda Rousey or challenge Asuka for the championship. And we knew who she was going to choose. She was going to choose Asuka. That was very plain and simple. I'm not Asuka, Ronda Rousey. So my theory is people tuned into SmackDown or tuned into Raw thinking, all right, who's Becky going to challenge? Is she going to show up here on Raw and challenge Ronda Rousey? Which she did. So my theory is when she showed up on Raw, all those fans that watched only to see Becky didn't watch SmackDown thinking that she may not even be on SmackDown because she basically moved herself to Monday Night Raw. That's my theory on why SmackDown didn't get that post didn't get that post Royal Rumble boost, is because most people that wanted to see Becky felt like she may not have been on that show because she was on Raw the night before. Now, when we look at the Raw ratings from this week, last week they did 2,462,000. This week, they got that Royal Rumble boost doing 2,703,000 views, or average views. So that's really, really good to see that Raw did get the boost, but unfortunately, SmackDown didn't get the boost. And to some, they don't take into consideration anything else other than the SmackDown rating week to week, and it looks okay. It looks steady. But they don't think, well, they just had the second biggest or some say third biggest pay-per-view of the year. They should have got a boost coming out of that show, and they didn't. Well, that is where it does look bad. But what did look good for the Royal Rumble kickoff, was their social media numbers. The Royal Rumble kickoff aired on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, WWE.com and the WWE Network. Now, we don't know the numbers that they did on the WWE Network or WWE.com. But we do know that as of this afternoon on their YouTube, let me pull up those numbers. I do have them written down here. They did huge numbers on Facebook and on YouTube. I know on Facebook they did 2.5 million views just for the pre-show. Then on YouTube, they did 4.7 million views for the pre-show of for the Royal Rumble. But then on Twitter, they only did 202,000. Still a lot. I'm not trying to denigrate it saying only 202,000, but compared to the 4.7 million and the 2.5 million, so overall they roughly did, I want to say, 7.2 million. 7.2 million people at one point in time over that 2-hour pre-show clicked on and watched over those social media platforms, and we don't even have the numbers from the WWE Network, the WWE app, and WWE.com. So that's really good for the WWE. My question that we probably won't ever find out is, what was the average watch time, though? How many people actually clicked on one of those social media platforms to watch the Royal Rumble kickoff and clicked off really fast, or stayed on for a number of minutes, 5 minutes, 20 minutes, the entire show? That's the big thing that we don't know, though, is their average viewed watch time. The numbers look great, though. They can go and say, hey, look, on our YouTube, on our Facebook, we're doing all these great numbers, and it looks good to Facebook as well, because then they say, hey, look at these numbers for this kickoff show. Give us another, what am I going to say? Mixed match challenge or something. Pay us for something else, because we did these big numbers on Facebook. So we'll see where it all does go. I did want to bring that up because I did find those numbers very interesting. And Luke Might in the chat with a super chat donation, $4.99, says, what match do you think will take place at WrestleMania for the WWE Championship? And that's hard to say. I do believe that Daniel Bryan will still be the champion going into WrestleMania, but who his opponent can be is kind of up in the air since they're doing the big 6-man Elimination Chamber match. I thought a good opponent would be maybe Joe. I don't know if maybe they'll try and bring back Bray Wyatt because he's now taking over the Wyatt family. Who knows? Seeing some more stuff in the chat. Fun and games, we will talk about that in a little bit. I don't want to talk about any spoilers here at the start. X Strictly saying I don't want to talk about spoilers at the start. That way I want people to be able to be in here and listen and watch this podcast. And then eventually we'll say, hey, spoilers coming next. But we're not talking spoilers yet. Not just yet. I do want to talk about possible signees to All Elite Wrestling. All Elite Wrestling, according to Dave Meltzer, could have 4 big signees coming very shortly. Now remember, on the 7th of February, they do have their ticket release announcement party. And with that, they said they're going to bring a bunch of talent that wasn't in Jacksonville. Excuse me. They're going to bring a bunch of new talent. I think they sent out a tweet today stating that Britt Baker was the first female signed, but she's not going to be the last. I think they're trying to sign Bea Presley. I know she had offers from both AEW and from the WWE, and she has reportedly picked AEW. According to Dave Meltzer last night on Wrestling Observer Radio, he did state that AEW is interested and most likely going to sign...
It's Monday the 18th! Yeah.
Whoa. Sorry about that.
I thought I ended the loop, but
I don't know what happened there. Something, a pop-up or something. Anyways, Dave Meltzer reported that AEW is interested and most likely going to sign Sammy Guevara and Kylie Ray. Not Kylie Ray. My bad. Kylie Ray. Both Guevara has been working for MLW in the United States and reportedly canceled a bunch of upcoming dates. As far as Kylie Ray goes, not much is known about her. I haven't heard her name before this. So that's going to be a interesting one. Also, it is being reported that Chucky T and Trent Beretta are also very likely to be going to AEW as well, and they should be finishing up with New Japan Pro Wrestling this weekend. Nicholas Altamore, that's exactly what I'm going to talk about next. So, also, very, very likely to appear at the February 7th rally or party or whatever it's going to be. Again, I apologize for that loud noise. I clicked on the article that I was just reading for those signees, and there was an ad or something. I don't know what happened. Excuse me. So if you guys saw this past week's Being the Elite, they all but confirmed Kenny Omega signing with the company. They did the whole episode, a lot of stuff from their show at Defiant, and then at the very, very end, Matt was on the phone with somebody. He said something about, I'm glad we didn't see you show up on that show. I think it was supposed to be a reference to the Royal Rumble. He said I was sad that, or she said something along the lines of, I wish you could have been with us on our last show, though. And then he said, I guess he said, like, we'll see you at the next one. I'm glad you found your phone. Well, if you remember back a couple weeks ago, they did an episode where they filmed something in front of the Tokyo Dome. They then found a lost phone in front of the Tokyo Dome. Then last week on Being the Elite, Kenny Omega stated, sorry if this video doesn't look good. I'm not using my normal phone. I lost my phone. So then with them stating, hey, I hope you found, or with Matt stating, I'm glad you found your phone, it then goes into it cuts to another shot of a phone on, I guess, a bathroom counter, it looks like. And the hand of somebody, which looks like Kenny Omega's hand, flips the phone over, and it's got one of the countdowns, which does end up counting down to the February 7th date. So that basically all but confirmed that Kenny Omega is signing and coming to AEW, and it should be at that, well, not should be, will be at that rally on the 7th. Now, I do see a couple people in the chat asking about different names who can come to AEW. I see Luke Might says Tessa Blanchard to AEW. Negative. Tessa Blanchard cannot come to AEW right now because she is locked into a multi-year contract with Impact Wrestling. Now, yes, she is working WOW Women's Wrestling, but that is because she got the okay from Impact to do so. Impact is not going to allow her to go work for AEW. Plus, AEW is going to want to sign her to an exclusive contract, and if she's already signed to an exclusive contract with, what's it called, Impact, then she can't do both. So just with all that, you know, Kenny Omega basically confirmed this week on Being the Elite. The Best Friends, Chucky T and Trent Beretta, finishing up this week with New Japan. They're most likely going to sign. And then also Sammy Guevara and as well Kylie Ray. Now, I know there were a couple websites out there that kept saying Kaylee Ray. Kaylee Ray. No, it's not Kaylee Ray. She's signed with the WWE. She was at NXT TakeOver Blackpool. So if you did see any website stating that Kaylee Ray was going to be coming and signing to AEW, they got it mixed up. And it's an easy mix-up. Because the way Meltzer did state it, I first thought I heard him say Kaylee, but then I listened again and they said he did say Kylie. So I can get the mix-up, but we'll have to see where it all does go. But those four, technically five, should be very good pickups. And I've been saying for a while, when people keep asking, who on the indies should AEW pick up, I keep saying Sammy Guevara. Sammy Guevara is a great little cruiserweight type guy that can really, be somebody that they can call a homegrown talent. He's done things in like AAA, and I think he worked Lucha Underground. I'm not 100% sure. And he's worked for MLW, but he hasn't like fully gotten his name out there. With AEW, they can bring him in and make him a nationally known name or a more recognizable name than he already is, and they can say, hey, this is an AEW homegrown talent. Now, talking about talent going to AEW, I want to shift over to talent possibly leaving WWE. So news broke this week on Dean Ambrose. Dean Ambrose reportedly told the WWE, hey, I am not resigning when my contract expires. I do not want to stick around. I'm going to leave when my contract expires in April. So that news broke late, almost like midnight Pacific time on Monday night after Raw. And so a lot of people were like, whoa, that's huge. Dean doesn't want to stay. What does this mean? And so the next day, WWE actually puts out a comment. They first put the comment only out to media, but it's like everybody. It's all of the wrestling websites. It was Bleacher Report, ESPN, and they stated, Dean Ambrose, Jonathan Good, will not be renewing his contract with WWE when it expires in April. We are grateful and appreciative of all that Dean has given to WWE and our fans. We wish him well and hope that one day Dean will return to WWE. After releasing that statement to media, they then would go and post it on social media on their website. So a lot of people then said, well, if WWE is recognizing it's got to be a work. And no, I'm like 99% can guarantee you this is not a work at all. Alexander the Great says Dean will stay. I bet he re-signs late. No. He went to WWE officials over the weekend. I don't know if this was Saturday or Sunday, one day over the weekend, and stated, I don't want to negotiate. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want a new contract. This has nothing to do with money. I'm frustrated with the way my character's been going, and I'm out. He's going to have to stay and work the remainder of his contract. But other than that, he's not even going to talk about an extension or a new contract. According to Dave Meltzer, they wanted to sign him to a new 5-year deal with the downside, him making at least $1 million a year. And he can make more with merch and if he's main eventing shows and this and that. But WWE wanted to pay him $1 million a year for 5 years. Now, that's his downside. Like I said, if he were to get hurt again, he'd still make that $1 million. And that's the other thing. He got hurt last year and was out 8 or 9 months. With WWE stating that he will finish up in April, that leads me to believe that they are not going to tack on those 8 or 9 months to the end of his contract. If they do try and add those on once April does come around, Dean does have the liberty take them to court over it because they've already stated publicly that Dean will be done with the company in April. So if they try to say, no, your contract expires in April, but we're adding this time onto it, they've already stated to the public, to the masses, he's out April. So even if they try to add that time onto it, I don't think they legally possibly can, but I think if he takes legal action, he would win. It's not like with Rey Mysterio and Daniel Bryan when they added time to their contract because WWE never commented on it. They just did it, in quiet, but we found out about it. So, and I know all of you are going to be thinking all the way up until the time he leaves, it's a work, but trust me, this isn't a work. And before anybody asked Renee, she's still got time more time than he's got left on her contract. It's stated that both of them backstage are really good at separating business and professional life. Both are very liked backstage, and we'll see where it goes. But as of where Dean can go after WWE is the big question. The first question you got to ask is, does he want to keep wrestling? He loves it. He likes it. It's what he's wanted to do. But did WWE take away that passion? Did it burn out of him? Did he burn out on wrestling when he was in that company? You would think with Dean Ambrose, from what I've heard, he's a very simplistic type of guy. Probably saved a lot of money because for the past couple of years, he's been making at least $1 million a year. And so you would think, between his money and his wife, they've probably got a good little savings. But at the same time, you can say, well, does he want to go to AEW? Does AEW want him? He's friends with both Jericho and Cody. So there could be something there. But Cody has stated before as well, we don't want to be that company that just signs all the old WWE guys, all the guys that left or got fired. They want to be a place where, they do have some guys with name recognition from WWE. But at the same time, they want to get a lot of homegrown talent as well. So we'll see where it all does go with Dean Ambrose. But the other one that came out yesterday, Fightful.com broke the story that Hideo Itami's leaving WWE. Hideo Itami asked for his release. WWE apparently told him he would get it, but have not officially granted it yet. The word was that he finished up with the company last night at the the 205 Live tapings. He lost to Akira Tozawa on that show last night, and that was supposed to be his final night with the company. Social media and everything, he's already changed his name back to Kenta, and then he sent out the thank you tweet. Weird thing is a bunch of WWE superstars, I've seen Peyton Royce do it, I've seen Rusev, and I've seen others, keep sending out tweets stating like, I respect Kenta, or I respect Hideo Itami, which is weird. Was his whole thing about not getting respect? I don't know. All I know is that he wasn't what they thought he was going to be when they signed him. He got injured a couple times. He was on the shelf for a very long time. And then when he came to the company and was finally able to do what they wanted with him, he just didn't connect. Like the push and the spot that Finn Balor got early on in NXT was supposed to go, from everything I've ever heard, was supposed to go to Hideo Itami. If you remember, at the Access before WrestleMania 31, Hideo Itami won a tournament to enter into the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. He beat Finn Balor in the finals of that tournament. He went on to that tournament, or the Battle Royal. He did, they spotlighted him in the Battle Royal at WrestleMania, and then he was supposed to be in line for the NXT Championship. They apparently were thinking of giving it to him in Japan, because he's Japanese. When he got hurt and couldn't do that and, had to take a lot of time off with the shoulder injury, they slotted Finn Balor in that spot, and boom, Finn Balor took it and ran with it. And, hey, one man's injury is another man's successful gains, I guess you can say. So that's one that's leaving. And then Mike and Maria. We still don't know what's really going on with Mike and Maria. She's denying that, quote-unquote, she asked for her release. Everyone's saying that maybe only Mike asked for their release, or maybe Mike only asked for his release. They were on 205 Live last night where he did lose to Kalisto. So I don't know if they're going to get their release. And, if I was WWE, I would say no. You got to work your contract and work the guys. Don't push them, but work them. At least with Dean, Dean's whole thing is, well, I'm not asking for an early release. I'll work the remainder of my contract, but I'm not re-signing. We also know that the Revival have asked for their release. They're not getting their release. Yeah, they won this week, but I wholeheartedly feel that they're eventually going to lose to Hawkins and Ryder. So with all of that, been rambling on for 22 minutes. Now, I want to hear from you guys. I want to hear what you guys have to say. Call into the show. Number is on the screen, 559-475-8473, 559-475-8473. Let's take a call. Caller, you're on the air. What's going on?
Hey, Tim. What's going on, my man?
How's it going?
Doing all right. Trying to hang in the weather here in Ohio, man. It's freezing as seconds in here.
Oh, I bet. I've heard.
Yeah. Even canceled. I had no school today and no school tomorrow. So I was like, what, let's talk to you guys since I haven't really been here for a while.
What you got?
I guess I got to start with Dean. I mean, this is just, I came out of nowhere for me.
Yeah, for everybody.
Yeah, I don't really blame him. I mean, even when he turned heel and he even won the Intercontinental title, his character wasn't really going anywhere. So.
And that's the thing that people have been saying, that ever since his heel turn, he's been more vocal about the way he's being used and the character that he has to portray.
Right. So, and, at first I saw it was like, it has to be at work, and then I kept realizing, well, he's not really in a good place. His character's not going anywhere, and, we were just trying to, so I'm kind of interested to see if Dean's going to have, any comments next week on Raw regarding the situation or anything, because, it's out there now.
Right.
If he's going to comment on anything.
It will be interesting. I know he won't make anything on social media. He's not really a social media type of guy. So if he is going to make any comments, it would be them putting him out there on Raw next week. And if he says something, he says something. The only thing that I think is if he does mention it, that's just going to make more fans think that it's a work when it's really not.
Right, and doesn't it have any? I don't think they really had specific date in April. He said they were said it just said in April, right?
Only thing I heard was late April, so it could be like third or fourth week, maybe. I don't know. They didn't give a date like they did with Ronda Rousey. They put her date right out there. So, and that's the other thing. That's the other thing that makes me believe that this is not a work, because when they did the Ronda Rousey thing, when people were talking about Ronda Rousey's contract, they just came out and said, nope, her contract expires April 10th, 2021. And so when they did that, and then they commented on the Dean thing, that's why I'm like, no, that's not a work. It's a new way that they're approaching this kind of stuff now.
This is just rare, like when WWE does this. I mean,
I think that's a Triple H directive, because look at what Triple H does with those NXT media calls. Vince would have never, ever agreed to do that. That's a Triple H thing. Triple H takes more from other sports and stuff too, and says, hey, what works here? Can we try it here? If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. We can always say we tried.
Right. And I don't know what Dean's going to go from here. I feel like this may be it for him. I'm not sure. I'm probably because of that injury, that may have really took a lot out of him. So, yeah, I'm hoping Dean, wishing him for the best. I don't know what he's going to do after. Either he's done or he's going to go somewhere else. Who knows? I guess that's pretty much all I have to say. I also want to keep Nick in my thoughts and prayers. I hope everything's going well with his family and all stuff. So wishing him nothing but the best too. So
appreciate that.
No problem.
All right. Have a great night, and thanks for the call.
No problem.
I see a couple of you asking, where's Nick? Where's Nick? Nick's been having, his grandfather was in the hospital earlier this week. His grandfather is home, and so they're just spending time as a family together. And as I always say and stuff, family comes first. Seeing some people in the chat asking who I think is going to win the Elimination Chamber. I think Bayley and Sasha win the women's. Take those newly minted tag team championships. And I think Daniel Bryan's going to win the men's chamber with the eco-friendly WWE title on the line. Excuse me. Just looking forward. We got a super chat donation from Nicholas Altimore. Says Mike and Maria should have gone to NXT. They should have. But we all know why they didn't go to NXT, because Maria was already a superstar on the WWE main roster. They felt that she had the name recognition to get them over. But here's the thing. Yeah, she had the name because a lot of fans probably go, oh, that's Maria. That's that chick that was around years ago. But you can bring back those names. But if you're not going to use them right, if you're going to make the fans just think they're nothing this time around, then of course, you know what I mean? It's like if they were to bring back, for instance, let me think of somebody that's out of the company now. Excuse me. It's like if they were to try to bring back, I don't know, Jack Swagger, for instance. Jack Swagger, who, kudos to him, won his first MMA fight this past weekend. But if they try to bring in Jack Swagger, bring him back, and for 1 week they were like, this man who was an American hero, we the people, MMA fighter. But then like the next couple of weeks is just another guy. That name recognition means nothing. So we'll see. Luke Mine also says, what's your opinion of the new WWE Championship? I think it looks sick as hell. I think it looks very, very cool. I hope they sell replicas of it. I mean that strap, it's a hemp strap, whatever. But the way my whole thing is, I love the wood carving of the championship and the pebbles and the rocks. I think it all just looks beautiful. Hell, Daniel Bryan loses that title, keep that damn title. I think it looks beautiful. But let's take another call. Calling on the air, what's going on?
Hey, buddy, how's it going?
Pretty good, yourself?
I'm hanging in there. It's a little cold in the Carolinas, but I know everywhere else it's probably freezing.
Not that bad here in California.
Yeah, y'all are fine, but it's like in the low teens for us up here, and that's pretty brutal for us.
Yeah, I got down to like the 30s last week, like high 30s.
Right. So I missed part of the Rumble review, so I have a couple question about one of the angles in the Rumble.
Okay.
What do you think about the angle with Elias and Jarrett?
I mean, it was funny at first. Then we saw it again the next night. Apparently, that was Elias's heel turn. Like in the Royal Rumble, with the whole thing with Jeff Jarrett was his heel turn. It's official. He's no longer a babyface. And depending on whether they go with this, hopefully they don't make Jeff Jarrett work an actual full match. Because I don't know.
That'll be great.
I mean, he does probably have better work punches than most of the guys, if not all the guys in that company. I mean, you saw those punches looking pretty crisp. But I don't know. Like, I saw him recently work a match in AAA. Yes, it was a fatal four-way, so he was, some of his flaws were hidden because, he's getting a little older there. But against Elias, I would think if he were to work a match for WWE, it would need to be somebody better than Elias, in my opinion. Nothing against Elias. I think he's good, but he's just not somebody that can carry somebody that may not be able to go at 100% anymore.
Correct. Yep, I agree. So, what do you think AEW can succeed with all these guys coming in? Do you think that they'll get their feet on the ground?
They will get their feet on the ground. They're not going to, give up after a year or anything. They're in this for the long haul. They, from what I've heard, have some pretty good TV deals in the works. They're they're probably only going to sign one, but they have multiple companies interested that have actually come to them. Not, they've reached out, but they've also had people come to them interested as well. And, they'll get that first TV deal, and it's going to be interesting because you can't just judge it right off the bat. You have to wait 6 months to a year, and they have to grow their fan base. Yeah, it's like anything new. You can't just, throw a new TV show on ABC and think, oh, it's going to be great off the jump because we got 1 or 2 good ratings. You have to give it time to grow. They're probably going to get a couple good ratings early because of the interest of, well, what can this be? But like I said, you got to give them that 6 months to a year and see if those ratings drop significantly, drop a little, or stay consistent.
Right.
And that's where it's all going to be. They can do whatever they want with their pay-per-views, but that TV, that's where their, big revenue coming in is going to...
The money is going to really tell where it's
right.
at.
Well, I mean, also we do know that they do good merch sales too, so that's another big factor. They probably they'll probably
huge.
sell better merch than WWE does.
Without question. But last thing, I know this is not wrestling related, but who do you think is going to take Daytona in a couple of weeks?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I actually need to think about that for my fantasy pick coming up here. I don't know. I haven't really seen much. I'm going to wait for the duels, see who does well there. There's a lot of changes that have been made in the off season, so.
Well, to me, the problem with NASCAR, there's not a consistent driver staying with one team like it used to be.
For the most part, yeah, I guess I could see that.
It's just hop, skip, and a jump, like Kurt Busch and all the rest of them are jumping teams and everything else. But to me, I think my pick would be Chase Elliott, even though I'm not a Chase Elliott guy, but I think it'll be Chase Elliott.
I was thinking somebody from Hendrick, or maybe why can't I think? Martin Truex Jr. He's now over with Gibbs, and they've been running good in the Daytona 500 the last couple of years.
Right. So, sorry I changed the subject.
Not a problem.
I just wanted to throw that out there. I'm always the guy that asks about the NASCAR questions, so I figured I'd throw it out there.
Not a problem.
But have a blessed night, and I appreciate what you do.
You too. Thanks for the call, and have a great night.
Yes, sir. All right.
Bird Gotti, yes, it is. Trust me. They train their NASCAR drivers and pit crew teams just like basically like an NFL team. They get former NFL conditioning coaches to train the NASCAR drivers and their team, their pit crew team. So, yeah. Anyways, let's take another call. Caller on the air, what's going on?
Hi, Tim.
How's it going?
This is Anthony. I have a question, Tim.
Okay.
What do you think about the whole with the whole Dean Ambrose thing? I think honestly, after he's going to retire, honestly. And did he open a wrestling school up? You know how Seth Rollins has Black and Brave wrestling school? Does Dean Ambrose have one?
Not to my knowledge.
Train younger wrestlers?
Not to my knowledge. I mean, I know that he lives out there in the desert in Las Vegas and loves his off time.
So you don't think he would be one of those wrestlers who retires and wants to train the younger generation of wrestlers.
Not from what I've ever heard about him. No.
He doesn't seem like. Well, I'm not saying wrestlers have an ego, but he doesn't seem like the person who would need to need people to compliment how he trained wrestlers. He's too low key for that.
Right. I mean, you brought up Seth Rollins. He doesn't do it to stroke his ego or say, "Hey, look at these guys I've trained." He just does it because he wanted to give back, and he also wanted a place where he knows he can go and work out and train himself on his off days.
And I have a question, actually. This is another question that I'm not sure. What's going to happen? Like, say the revival leaves, who's going to replace them as that workhorse wrestling team? Do you think they're going to break up Bobby Roode and what's his name? Bobby Roode and Chad Gable. And once is Jason Jordan cleared to wrestle, or
negative?
He's not cleared to wrestle yet.
Still having neck issues. He's actually, because of the neck problems, he's actually having trouble with his grip strength and gripping things and stuff. Like, he can't work out or anything, as far as I know. So yeah, he's not. I don't want to say he's not progressing because I don't know that for sure. But just the little things we hear here and there does sound like he's not progressing enough.
Is there any technical wrestlers that you can see, that are in NXT that we can call up that had that same pedigree of amateur wrestling and stuff that you can pair up with Chad Gable, where they can be a varsity club type tag team, where you focus on their technical amateur wrestling and stuff like that?
Looking in NXT, I know both members of Heavy Machinery do have some amateur wrestling experience, but they kind of use them more for comedy relief kind of deals for the most part. Other than that, I don't know really who else down there in NXT does have that amateur background, because there's no one as of right now that they're pushing as far as highlighting and mentioning it.
And I have another question too. I'm not sure if you can answer this. I know since we're NXT UK's partnered up with ICW, right? They're partnered up with ICW, correct?
WWE works with them, yes.
Yes. That stable that they have down there? Have you heard of the Filthy Generation?
I've heard of it, but I don't really know too much of ICW though.
Okay. No. Do you think that they could bring that? I know Stevie Boy's injured, but once he gets cleared, do you think WWE is going to sign that whole stable, or are there any? Do you know of any of the wrestlers that are signed with a company that won't allow them to sign with WWE? Like Stevie Boy works with what is it called? Not Progress, Defiant, and I don't think Defiant is one of those companies that WWE partners with,
no.
Right?
Negative.
So that's what scares me. Like, say you want to bring a big stable up like that to NXT UK, and that guy works with Defiant. Can WWE has enough money to buy out their contract?
They don't buy out people's contracts. They don't buy out people's contracts. They wait till the contracts are up, and then they make their offers. Because legally, if they talk to somebody before their contracts are up, then WWE can get in legal trouble. So they're not going to be looking to buy out people's contracts, because then that can...
Even though they have enough money to do it?
No, because that can lead to... I want to say thank you for the call. WWE will not buy out somebody's contract, as far as I know, because then that can lead to a lawsuit of contract tampering. Say, for instance, they were to make an offer to Marty Scurll. Marty Scurll is still under contract with ROH until April. If they were to make an offer to him now and say, hey, we'll offer you this much money, and we'll offer ROH this much money to buy out the rest of your contract, then they'll say, oh, wait, you've been talking to Marty about money? You've been offering him deals? Contract tampering, lawsuit. So WWE is not going to go out there and offer to buy out somebody's contract with the fear of a lawsuit of contract tampering that almost happened with Kyle O'Reilly. The ROH threatened that they were going to, threaten lawsuit of contract tampering because they did kind of reach out to Kyle O'Reilly directly before his contract did expire while he was still Ring of Honor champion. That's why they waited so long to bring him in. That's why when Adam Cole's contract expired, they didn't even reach out. Like, yeah, they had their feelers out there, and Adam Cole knew they were interested, but they didn't reach out with any sort of a deal until at least 30 to 90 days after Adam Cole's deal, his contract with Ring of Honor, did expire. With that, let's take a couple more calls. Then we're going to talk about some things that happened at tonight's NXT TV tapings. Caller in the air, what's going on?
Hi, how are you?
Pretty good, yourself?
I'm doing well, thanks. So I have one question for
Okay.
you, and it's with Becky Lynch's quote-unquote knee injury. Do you think they'll play a Seth Rollins role like they did with him versus Triple H, with he/she may not be able to compete the day of the show?
No, because it's too far out for that. With the whole Seth Rollins thing, that all took place. It was a real injury that they turned into a part of the storyline. And that was only about a month, if not even less than a month, before WrestleMania even happened. With the Becky Lynch thing, there's still 2.5 months until WrestleMania. Well, yeah, 2 months and a week-ish. It's too far down the line for them to keep saying that she's injured that long. Because she's going to wrestle Charlotte on a pay-per-view, either Elimination Chamber or Fastlane. She's going to go in and have that match, and she'll probably wrestle a couple more times before WrestleMania. So I think it's just too far out for them to keep that going.
Do you possibly see all the WWE 4 Horsewomen having titles if they were to face the MMA 4 Horsewomen?
That's tough to say because I know at WrestleMania they want to do the triple threat, so that would mean Becky most likely winning the Raw Women's Championship, but Charlotte not going up and winning the SmackDown Women's Championship, since she would also be challenging for that Raw Women's Championship.
All right, well, thank you for having me, and have a good night.
Thank you for the call, and have a great night. All right, let's take one last call before we do talk NXT spoilers. I got 2 calls on the docket. Which one shall I pick? Eeny, meeny, miny, you. Caller on the air, what's going on?
How's it going?
Pretty good. What's up?
Not much. I just got one quick question. Okay.
Go for it.
Okay, Elimination Chamber is coming up, and my focus is on the first ever women's tag team titles. You said earlier they should give it to Sasha Banks and Bayley, right?
I mean, that's the more obvious choice.
You have a point, but this is my thing. After they win, whoever wins, how do you think those titles should be defended? You think they should go to Raw? Do you think they should go to stop on to see if any 2 women will fight from NXT? Do something different with the titles.
Now, you bring that up, the NXT thing. Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful.com was on the media call last week with Triple H, and he said, hey, will we ever see these women's championships go down to NXT? And Triple H said that that's something they're considering, but they haven't really worked out how they would make that work as far as the main roster title also being spotlighted on NXT. I mean, we can see how it would work, but he just, everything logistically, they want to make sure that it all works out right and they don't do it and then something happens where the NXT star can't be on the main roster for some reason or something. But they are considering NXT being involved. As far as how the title would be defended, I just feel like, if you remember when they did the very first brand split and the WWE champion and the women's champion were on both brands. They kind of did it to where 1 month a member from Raw was able to challenge, and then the next month somebody from SmackDown was able to challenge. So I don't know if they would do that this time. It would make it to where the title would be involved less in storyline and more just people wanting to challenge that way, though.
I get it, but my last comment, I get all that, but if you want to make these things even remotely respectable, you actually have to do something with them instead of have them in booking limbo, as we call it.
Right, and I fully understand that, and I think that's why you make it to where all these women want to challenge, and they go to the McMahons, they go to Triple H, they go to Stephanie, and they're like, hey, we want the next shot. We want the next shot. And I don't know if this could happen, but maybe it can lead to some crossover where it's like on Monday, say, Natalya and Ember Moon, even though Ember Moon's going to be out for a couple of months, go to Stephanie and say, we want the next shot at the women's tag titles. But then on SmackDown the next night, we do hear Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose say, no, we want it. So they say, okay, at the next pay-per-view, say after WrestleMania, Payback, we're going to do a number one contenders match, a team from Raw versus a team from SmackDown, and then the winning team can challenge for the championships going forward. Maybe they do something like that where they actually, not just have the titles floating, but the women, as far as on pay-per-views, can challenge each other in number one contender matches as well.
That'd be cool. Oh, thanks for taking my call, Tim.
All right, thanks for the call. Have a great night. All right. Now, I do want to state we're going in to spoiler mode. We're going to talk about things that did take place at tonight's NXT TV tapings from Full Sail University. I need to look up one quick thing really fast just to double check if I got an update. No. Okay. So the first little nugget of news that came out of the NXT TV tapings was something to do with Cassius Ohno. So they were going to do a tag team match. It was going to be, they did the tag team match, but before the tag team match took place, the Street Profits taking Humberto Carrillo and Steve Irwin Jr. Humberto Carrillo and Steve Irwin Jr. came out, and then Cassius Ohno came out. He was on the ramp, and he said something about, I've been in NXT for 2 years. Haven't really been used that well. I've been sitting on the sidelines. I've been sitting in the back. And you know what? I'm going to come out here and say it. I'm done. I'm out. Basically said he wanted to leave WWE, wanted to leave NXT. Keith Lee would then come out, lay him out, and say, hey, don't let the door hit you in the ass on your way out. Then they did do a match, Keith Lee versus Cassius Ohno, with Keith Lee defeating Cassius Ohno. Now, I know some are trying to say that it's a storyline. Some are trying to say that, hey, Cassius Ohno was leaving because there was a website that said that he wanted to leave back in December. And I haven't had anything confirmed to me, so I'm not saying one way or the other. But that was an interesting thing that they did do at tonight's TV tapings, was a deal with Cassius Ohno where they made it seem like he wanted to leave the company, but we don't know if this is a work or if this is a storyline. Mr. Jones is me, says Steve Irwin Jr. Yeah, I believe that's let me double check. I believe that was his name. Let me pull up the spoilers from NXT. I thought I had them right here. I got them right here. All right, so reading the chat here while I pull these up. Heath Murphy with a $10 super chat donation. Appreciate it. It says, thanks for all the hard work. Thank you for the donation. Speaking of donations, if anybody wants to support PW Unlimited more than just here on YouTube, you can do so by heading over to patreon.com/PW Unlimited. If you sign up for our Patreon at low as $1 a month, you can get early access to our new content coming here to YouTube. You get it 3 to 5 days early, and you will also get exclusive content like our NXT 205 Live and NXT UK reviews. We will be doing, Nick and I, and maybe we'll sometimes throw in some other people, we'll be doing a non-wrestling podcast where we talk about just anything and everything. And we're doing some other exclusive things over there on Patreon as well. Also, like I said, early access content. We do have a new series. Well, we do have our series that dropped last week, PW List This. Is our top 10 series where we do talk about different topics in WWE and all kinds of different wrestling. And we do have a new series dropping coming out this weekend. It's called Through the Ranks, where we look at every superstar in the WWE throughout the last month and see who had the better, I guess you can say, win-loss rating, win-loss percentage, and who was the best superstar from Raw, SmackDown, tag teams, women going forward. And then we're going to keep updating that throughout the year. The video will come out once a month. It'll be early access on Patreon. And then at the end of the year, we're going to see who actually had the best percentage win-loss throughout the whole year in WWE. I think we're only doing main roster. We're not doing NXT or any of that because they do a lot of extra house shows, but we are taking into consideration, results from house shows, results from pay-per-views, results from Raw, results from SmackDown. We will gather all that information, and every month, the first week of each month, we will do our Through the Ranks video where we rank all the different wrestlers by their, I guess you can say, win-loss percentage, like I said. And then we'll go on each month and see who's the best in WWE right now. Now, as far as spoilers from tonight's NXT TV tapings, going forward with that, we did also see a brand new North American champion crowned. So, spoilers for the Worlds Collide tournament. Velveteen Dream won it. He was then granted, He was then granted a title shot against anybody in NXT, NXT UK, or 205 Live. So any of those champions. He would then come out at the tapings and say, I want to challenge Johnny Gargano for the North American Championship. Why he didn't say I want Ciampa in the main title, I don't know. But we'll see. Anyways, I don't know why he didn't want Ciampa, but he didn't. He wanted the North American title. He got the North American title shot, and he won. Velveteen Dream won the North American Championship. After the match, he was then attacked by Johnny Gargano, who took the title and posed as the tapings finished with Tommaso Ciampa. Then, apparently, after cameras weren't filming anymore, let me find this. There was a tweet of something he said. He stated, oh man, I'm not going to be able to find this tweet now. Apparently, after the tapings went off the air, or not off the air, but you can obviously know that the cameras were no longer filming. Johnny Gargano yelled to one of the referees. Oh man, I'm not going to be able to find this now, am I? He basically, I don't have the exact quote. I had it here initially. I don't know what happened to it. But he basically said, is Vince watching now? Or something like that to one of the referees. Or where is Vince now? Or something like that in reference to Vince McMahon. As you know, Gargano was in the Royal Rumble match. And then lost his title a couple days later. I mean, it's not going to air for 3 or 4 weeks because they filmed 3 to 4 episodes in a row. So technically on TV, Gargano's going to be that champion for almost a month. But yeah, for him to make that comment afterwards about Vince, is Vince watching? Did Vince see this or something along those lines? When the cameras are no longer on, very interesting. Very interesting. So I don't know where this is leading to. Again, Velveteen Dream is technically the new WWE NXT North American champion, but he doesn't have his belt. As old Johnny Gargano stole it from him. The other question, with the tapings taking place today, but this match not airing for a couple of weeks, will Johnny Gargano have the championship at Halftime Heat on Sunday? That's a big question right there, because if he comes out with the title, then all's good. But if Velveteen Dream comes out with the title, huge spoiler alert. Huge spoiler alert. No, I can't find the quote anymore. Aw, sad face. Anyways, those were the 2 big things that did take place at tonight's NXT TV tapings. If you guys want to know everything that took place at tonight's NXT TV tapings, we will have a full spoiler video going up right after this podcast does conclude, maybe like 20 minutes after. I got to finish editing it. Didn't have enough time before we went live here, but yeah, we will have full spoilers up on the channel or on the website, PWUnlimited.net, once we're done here with this podcast. If you guys do want to call in, I'll take one final call, 559-475-8473. Take one final call before we wrap it up. Read some of the chat here. Colby Duran says I should check out Sami Callihan on Twitter. Let me check that then. I know what are you talking about the comment where he goes, isn't he from Ohio as well? I think that's the one you're thinking of. Bird Gotti also says, what about Kushida? He said bye to New Japan last night. Yeah, it is being reported that Kushida, whose contract does expire tomorrow, the end of tomorrow, midnight tomorrow, will be coming into WWE and starting in NXT. There it is. Broken Dreams found the code. He says, where the fuck is Vince? That's what it was. He said it to one of the referees. Interesting quote there. Very interesting. But let's take one final call. Caller, you're on the air. What's going on?
Hey, Tim, what's up?
How's it going, bud?
Oh, man, just trying to stay warm. It's like -6 outside. But
Yikes, where are you from?
Michigan.
Ah, gotcha,
Lansing
gotcha.
area.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's pretty cold. But, hey, I had a couple questions and comments.
Go for it.
The first one is I'm excited about the chamber coming up, and I have a problem with the whole Dana Bryan WWE Championship match. I'll tell you why. Because they did the whole fresh start thing, and they said everybody's got to earn their title opportunities. And don't get me wrong, all those guys who are in that chamber match should be placed in that top spot on SmackDown Challenge. But in kayfabe, they didn't really necessarily earn the title opportunity. I mean,
well, here's the thing with that.
Yeah.
It's SmackDown. They don't have enough time within 3 episodes to do enough of the qualifying matches, just like we're seeing with the Women's Elimination Chamber. They don't have enough time yet. They don't have enough women to do qualifying matches on SmackDown, so that could be one of the reasons. And 2, typically when you look back at Elimination Chambers, they don't usually do qualifying matches for Elimination Chamber anyways. They just take like the top guys from that brand and put them in there who they believe is, in that division, whether it's, we've seen with tag teams in the Elimination Chamber. We see with when Ryback won the Elimination Chamber to be the Intercontinental Champion. They usually don't qualify people for the Chamber. It's usually management just picks who they feel are the best guys suited for that match in that division.
And all those guys are more than capable of putting on a great match. I mean,
right.
It'll still be a fun match. Don't get me wrong.
Right. Like I said, I think I said it last night. If I were to take anybody out, I'd take Jeff Hardy out and maybe add Rey Mysterio.
Yeah. But my second question is, with the whole Raw Women's Championship match between, Becky Lynch and Ronda, I don't think Charlotte should be added. But, that leaves the question, since Becky's going on to Raw, who's going to challenge for the SmackDown Women's Championship? And, no offense to SmackDown, but they don't have anybody. I mean, like Mandy Rose, no. I mean, Charlotte, I don't know what's going on with her. The whole Naomi thing, she's been looking bad the past couple weeks on TV. Yeah. So I was thinking, I'm like, they had a good match before, maybe Nikki Cross, because Asuka's over and so was she.
I mean, you do have enough time to build up Nikki Cross to WrestleMania. Like I said, there's about 2 months and a week or so till WrestleMania. Yeah. So you do have enough time to build her up. And they haven't defined what brand she is going to be on. So maybe that could be the direction they go. Maybe they do rehab Naomi and put Naomi in that spot, because Naomi is somebody that I think could have a really good match with Asuka. And like I said, there's time to rehab her.
I mean, I was thinking, I know this is kind of fantasy booking, I think maybe Ruby Riott, you got to go with the direction to get her back on SmackDown.
Yeah, but that wouldn't work.
Yeah, I mean, she could have a good match with her, but I mean, I don't know. SmackDown is lacking women. I mean, on Raw, you got Sasha Bailey, who could have a good match with Ronda, and you could basically have anybody in that championship position. It'll look fine. But SmackDown, like, ugh. But my last question is, I don't mean to keep you, but my last question is for WrestleMania 36. I heard that could potentially be in Jacksonville or Florida. Like,
I haven't heard that one bit at all. I don't know where you got that from. I haven't heard that. I haven't really heard anything for WrestleMania 36. That's still, like, they won't announce that for at least almost a year.
For 36?
Right, that would be next year's WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Yeah, they won't announce that until like December, January.
Well, I mean, usually they'll announce it like a year prior, though, wouldn't they?
No, they didn't have this year's WrestleMania locked down until like right before they announced it.
They I mean, I was at WrestleMania 33, and they did the commercial for next year's WrestleMania.
Right,
it had the logo.
Right, that one.
The logo and everything.
They did for WrestleMania 34. They did have that one locked down well in advance. But as far as WrestleMania 36 goes, WrestleMania next year, You know, now thinking about it, they could have it announced that soon, but I haven't heard, Jacksonville, I haven't heard one bit Jacksonville. And honestly, whoever said
well,
that.
I heard it from ringside.
Yeah, and I probably know who they got it from, and that's. Here's the thing. You really think they're going to go in the Jaguar Stadium? Like, where else would they go in Jacksonville?
No, that's why I was laughing. Yeah, I mean, the whole AEW thing.
There's no way that would happen. No way, thinking about it. Like, I think for a second, I'm like, Jacksonville. Oh, yeah, no. Not at all.
Yeah. I heard, like, specifically in Florida, but targeting Jacksonville, I mean, I don't know.
I did hear that Miami may have put in a bid because they do like to stick around Florida, but...
I also heard that Tampa might be interested at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers Stadium.
That could be a good one. Because I don't remember the last time if they ever did a Mania in Tampa.
Yeah, that's true. All right. Thanks for the call, man.
All right, thanks for the call and have a great night. With that, I want to say thank you guys for joining me here live on the PW Unlimited Wednesday show. You can follow us right here on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/Pro Wrestling ULTD. On Twitter, @PWUnlimited. Check out our website, PWUnlimited.net. Go over to our Patreon, patreon.com/PWUnlimited for early access and exclusive content. And check out our store, our merch store, PWUnlimited.net/store. If you want to get our hoodie, our t-shirt, our cell phone cases, stickers, anything like that. We'll see you guys next time. Have a good night, guys.